racing Daytona 500s with all the grease. What the hell was that?
Hey, we
How
run
do you
on
guys
diesel.
function as human beings?
Got to fuel up, man. Got to.
Unbelievable.
Because Jay and I weren't invited somehow, that Connor and Lawrence and Rotopat just had to have breakfast without me or Jay or producer Damien. So I just wandered in on my own, but so I was a little late. We only had like a half hour before we had to leave to come here for you beautiful people. So I got the buffet.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour once again, and all week we are live for Super Bowl 60 from Radio Row in San Francisco, and yes, another delightful breakfast. No Matthew, no Jay, just me, Lawrence, and Rotopat.
Oh, wow.
The
three amigos.
That's right.
Yeah.
Three wise men.
We like the big three right now.
Yeah,
That's right.
I had breakfast at an undisclosed location.
Interesting.
Away from you guys.
Well, that's
Oh,
not a
wow.
surprise.
Yeah.
A little fancier than
Yeah,
the
a little
buffet.
fancier, a little nicer, a little less roto-patty.
Wow.
I think you was in your room eating breakfast.
Yeah, maybe.
Room service?
Yeah, maybe.
Room service, Maddie?
Yeah, room service.
Wow.
Look, I had an early meeting, actually. I had to get up.
You're a shaker and a mover at
I
Super Bowl.
try. And there's a lot of people, a lot of demands on my time.
Nobody's on like more board of directors status than you at Super Bowl week.
It's nothing interesting like that. It's nothing interesting like that. But people ask to talk to me, and so I grant them that audience. There you go. Yes.
Fun show today. We went through all of the free agent quarterbacks and running backs yesterday. Of course, we got the top wide receiver free agents, which is an even more interesting market. We'll get through that. The Rotoworld Player news. Our coworker and colleague Trysta Krick will join us for some more bets.
Yep.
And then we'll close out the show with more bets, the receiving yards leader as well. So we got props galore this week for Super Bowl 60. But it was opening night for Super Bowl, and we got a little bit of a best of in case you missed it.
Look at that. Wow. This is great. No, I'll wear it later. Okay. Oh, you made it just for me. You did not make this. How about that? That's perfect.
I'm looking a little homeless. I need you to figure out what's going on with the sides, trim this up, leave a little cabbage on top, and then the cabbage cut. That's good. We'll go with the cabbage cut. Rank the cinnamon roll snickerdoodle. She just made those for the lineman this week. That's my number one.
Captain Crunch and Fruity Pebbles. It's the childish cereals, but like I'm a grown up now, so like Special K, Cheerios, stuff like that.
Party getting heart rate?
It's on the agenda maybe, right? Right? I gotta get mine first though.
Is this a must-win game?
A must-win? Yeah, I think every time we go out, there's a must-win game. I mean, it's kind of the attitude that I've always taken.
Do you like to be the underdog?
Well, somebody has to. I don't think we dislike it.
That was great. Mike Vrabel.
I mean, what he's supposed to say, man? You know, especially the first question. Like, it is the last game of the NFL season, so I think you might
I think you can drop
that.
this one. I think you can drop it. Yeah, make up for it later on.
I don't know. I don't want to beat people up too much, but I'm not saying it's the worst question I've ever heard at a Super Bowl press conference, but it's like
it's not even the worst one in this last. It's not the worst one last night.
What was the worst one last night that you heard?
Go on.
To Drake Maye. Are you playing to win the game? Something of that nature. And Drake said, whoa, what else are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
What's going on?
I don't know much about football, but I know that you do play to win the game.
That's what I've heard. That's the rumor on the street. You play to win the game.
What's going on with this Cooper Kupp aesthetic? Looks like Jake Paul.
How about I say, is all his hair in the front right now?
Yeah. I don't know.
Always good to see Stuntman Chuck in the comments. Does Diggs have his special? Oh boy, yeah.
Cape Powderback.
I don't think we're going down that road.
I don't think anyone asked him. Anyone asked him that. That would have been a better question than, are you playing to win the game?
Also, you never ask a man if he's going to propose.
No.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah,
Whoever did that, I think that was the worst one.
Yeah.
That's a bad way to put a man on the spot.
Yeah,
Anyone
okay,
on the spot. You gonna get engaged? You gonna propose?
Because what if he was?
Well, right. Well, he's
or
got.
if he has no plans to.
Either way, it's a no-win situation.
Exactly.
Because either he says yes. Now you've just ruined the surprise for this woman's, one of the biggest days in her life, right? Or he says no, and then she's like, wait, what? I thought we were heading somewhere. What's going? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's a no-win situation. I agree with you. That's the worst question there as well. But in that. But just completely randomly, Connor, you and Kristen, when are you guys having kids?
Yeah, right? Same question.
Yeah, I was just curious when you guys are having kids.
Yeah. And I don't even have like the Super Bowl joke to make like Stefan did.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know. Ask me again tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day.
Yeah.
See, no win.
I got to get my stock exchange baby first.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
that's right. Yes,
That's
my
right.
fantasy football happy hour, baby. How about this one from Tim in the chat? He said, "Is Jay wearing the same thing as yesterday?
No.
That's a good question.
Did he never go back to the hotel last night?"
That's a good question, and it's a fair one because, Jay might be wearing the same
It is
suit.
a slightly different shade of suit, gone from John Wick henchman to John Wick himself.
I can confirm it has a pattern, too.
Yes.
It's not a
No.
solid color.
It was dark blue yesterday. Go back, watch the tape. This is gray suit on black shirt.
Don't make me bring backup producer Pete up here.
Oh,
you
goodness.
should.
It's been a day for backup
I don't
producer
know.
Pete.
Backup producer Pete looks like he's been reading Moby Dick all night and watching Master and Commander. He looks like he is about to commandeer a boat through the Caribbean. There are
He
gold
ready to
buttons on a
His-
suit jacket.
His gold buttons on the suit jacket, and he literally looks like he's a young Captain Steubing welcoming everyone to the Aloha deck. He's just, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Like,
also I overheard
I
him.
saw him this morning, and he went, "Ahoy, matey."
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude.
I overheard him. He was having a conversation with Pat Sertan about the barbarous seas around San Francisco. So it's very strange.
Jay, I applaud your skill to just move the talking point from you wearing the same outfit as yesterday to backup producer Pete, who's not even on.
No, come here. Pete, come on camera. I want everyone to see you. Let America see what you're rocking
Let's go,
here.
Pete.
This is the man, the legend right
Can
here.
there we go.
Yeah.
We weren't lying. We actually undersold it.
There you go.
We undersold
I just
it.
want to know why the buttons are golden. That's
Yeah,
my
it's
only
just-
thing. It's my only
He
thing.
is-
Because he's very wealthy.
He's ready to brave the nautical seas
prestigious.
around the San Francisco Bay. He's your captain. Pete, you know what Pete literally just did behind camera? He went just like, "I am the captain now."
Yeah,
He
that's
just did
exactly
that.
what he did with his. Yeah.
That he would did. But Lawrence, you brought up a good point here. Jay very successfully, instead of taking it on himself, immediately just threw Pete
Yes.
under the bus, as opposed
Skillful.
to like.
It's a
And
good
by the
point.
way, you're not. I love the fact that you think you're, quote, John Wick. I will say I think you've upgraded from John Wick henchman
Yes.
to one of the people that send out henchmen against John Wick.
Okay.
You're like the third guy that gets killed.
Okay.
You're the guy in the back of the room that says, go get him. And then John Wick gets through all of them, and then he comes to you, and then he kills you.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
a shame because I did grow up. Keanu Reeves was a hero of mine. Growing up as a half Asian, half Caucasian boy in Australia,
Yeah.
there's not that many heroes to have. The same race, and Keanu Reeves is one of those. To be fair, the heroism was a bit undone by the poor acting performances that have coloured Keanu's career, Point Break, etc., etc. But that's fine. I'll take henchman sender from John Wick. Not too bad.
Let's get into the Rotoworld Player news. It took us a while to get there, but here we are. Sean McVay signs a multi-year extension. He's 92-57 in the regular season. Pretty good. 10-6 in the playoffs. Not bad. He's made the playoffs in 7 of his 9 years as the head coach of the team, of course, as well as general manager Les Snead, who's done some pretty savvy drafting for him. And Matthew, how about the follow-up news here? Sean McVay has his finger crossed on Matthew Stafford returning next year. Some are predicting retirement.
That's right.
Not you, but some out there.
No, I am.
You don't have your finger crossed?
Well, I've been predicting it for 2 years now, so eventually I'll be right.
You will hit.
At some point.
Just early.
At this point, I'm pot committed.
Yeah, just keep saying Giannis will get traded, and then eventually he'll get traded.
Yeah.
Let's listen to McVay on the potential Stafford return.
Deserves as much time as he needs. We spend a lot of time together, and I feel I'm excited about, I'm hopeful, but I think, with respect to him, haven't set any sort of timetable, and I think I don't get the sense that he wants to let it drag on either, and then we'll just kind of see what he's feeling, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed like you guys that he wants to still play.
Is Sean McVay in Mexico or what?
I don't know.
I thought it was going to be like at the podium
I know,
as
you
usual
think
business.
so. It's sort of like we caught Sean McVay on vacation.
Great mood.
Right.
The smiling.
He seems very happy.
Very
He just got paid. I mean, it's interesting because for years, Sean McVay has been rumored to be like, a no-brainer for television.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he flirted with it for a little bit. I mean, I think that's fairly public, or didn't deny interest in potentially exploring it. But the fact, it's smart smart move by the Rams. He's a great coach. The record speaks for itself. And same with Les Snead, who I think doesn't get nearly the credit he should as a general manager. Some of the picks they've hit on, and just I think there was a time there where they were just like, they traded all those number 1 picks. They traded all those picks to get Stafford and to gear up for the Super Bowl, which ended up winning. They pushed their chips in the middle, and you're like, okay, well now it's going to be 4 years of rebuilding after they win the Super Bowl against the Bengals. But they really didn't. I mean, they've managed to. Hitting on Puka Nacua in the 5th round, some of the defensive, Verse was a great pick.
Exactly.
They've just they've been incredible.
They got something out of your boy Emmanuel Forbes too.
Yeah.
They
Wasn't a
got
great end
something
to the
out
season
of
for
him.
Forbes.
He's better than what he was.
He was definitely better.
There's no question. Ron Rivera should be fired again.
Yeah. I find it very interesting, Connor, just the inefficiency around coaching salaries and contracts. Like, if you're Sean McVay, you're in a negotiation. It should just be an open checkbook. Like, pay Sean McVay $50 million a year. He can just go in there and say, I'm more valuable than TJ Watt, who gets paid.
Affect the salary cap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've been fascinated by this for a while, that the coaching payroll is starting to move. For a while, it was so stagnant, and now the top guys are finally at like the $20 million mark.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder to an NFL, like, how valuable is a Sean McVay to an NFL franchise?
Well, it's hard.
I agree with you.
For him, it's easy to tell, but in the greater landscape, it's hard. You could see the impact he has. You could see the quick turnover. Like you said, Matthew, we thought he was going to have some rebuilding, but not if you hit on these draft picks. You mentioned Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, a 6th-round pick. So with Sean McVay, it's like, even if Matthew Stafford does retire, look, he got to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff and then traded him away because he wanted to go that extra step, and then they did it. So it's really hard to compare Sean McVay to like the greater landscape of coaching, because he's like, maybe he's not one of one, but he's for sure one of them guys.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, generally, like, in an efficient economic landscape, you get paid what you're worth. Brock Purdy makes $50 million a year. Do the Niners genuinely think that Brock Purdy's more valuable than Kyle Shanahan? Purdy makes double what Shanahan does. Like, it's very interesting that hasn't, I don't think, got to a finish.
Because it's not just about the product on the field, but like a winning team sells more jerseys, sells more tickets. There's a direct revenue impact on a team doing what you get paid when you get into the playoff, the whole thing. And so it's interesting. So we talk about how much money Sean McVay is worth. I'm curious, Jay, what you think Matt Nagy is worth.
I just don't understand how this happens. Like, why are we going down this path again? I haven't really seen much from Matt Nagy to be super confident in this, that he is an upgrade as an offensive mind over Brian Daboll, who they fired, who was heading up the offense naturally. So we see Ian Rappaport breaking the news here that the Giants are hiring Chiefs OC Matt Nagy as their offensive coordinator, an experienced play caller. He does have experience. He has been around for quite a long time, and he'll be filling a key role on John Harbaugh's side. Here's the other thing, too, is that this isn't like Matt Nagy with Andy Reid, where it's Andy Reid's offense. Like, this is going to be Matt Nagy's offense, and I wouldn't feel that encouraged about that if I were a Giants fan.
It's a weird one, just because, I mean, again, Andy Reid calls the plays. And it also seemed like the Chiefs were very excited to get Eric Bieniemy back.
They let Nagy, his contract expire.
Right.
There was no, they just
please stay.
Just let it expire and brought back Bieniemy.
You didn't get a head coaching job, please come back.
Right.
Former coach of the year, by the way, Matt Nagy, with the Bears in 2018. Largely in the back of their defense.
Interesting award.
Yes. But
you see how
the first year in Chicago was good.
Yeah, how have we talked about the Chiefs' offense for the past couple of years in comparison to how we talked about it when Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator?
That's right.
I don't think we had to look at it any further than that. Patrick Mahomes was a multi-time MVP, and so I think they're trying to get a little bit of that old thing back. Even though Andy Reid does call the plays, I think they want him back in that building, because that's simply when they were at their best.
Well, for sure, but I think in terms of Matt Nagy, the two most recent things, like he's been the Chiefs offense coordinator for the last 3 years, where Mahomes is kind of this fully baked, product. We can argue about, whether it was, but it's not like Matt Nagy can say, like, well, I developed Patrick Mahomes. He was Patrick Mahomes before Nagy came back as the OC, and then he was the Bears head coach, and then, I don't know that you feel great about any of the quarterbacks that played under Matt Nagy. And the reason I bring that up is that the number one job, I believe, of the Giants' new offense coordinator is to make Jaxon Dart.
That's what it's all about.
Is to continue the development of Jaxon Dart and make him a star, or more of a star.
Right.
And, because Harbaugh's not that guy. That's not what Harbaugh does. No. Harbaugh's a CEO-type head coach.
Which is why Aloha Bricks asked, does Nagy help or fail for Dart next year? I mean, we would have been unanimously excited for Todd Monken to be the offense coordinator of the Giants. Like, that's where he was going. He got a head coaching job. It didn't happen. This pivot feels the opposite to me.
Yeah.
I'm not optimistic about this.
I got a question for y'all. Would you rather have Matt Nagy as the OC or still have had Brian Daboll as the head coach?
Still have Brian Daboll.
There you go. So it's like...
That's a tricky one.
It's
because there was a lot of problems with Daboll's regime, but the quarterback was not one, and the development of the quarterback was not one.
He was almost off and running. Like you could see the bad team, but you could see the young quarterback making some plays.
Listen, we don't need to turn this into a whole debate about Brian Daboll, and I understand what you're saying, but my argument is that at least some of the failures of Daboll were bad luck, injuries, injuries on both sides of the ball, including Malik Neighbors. Like, your best non-quarterback offensive skill player goes down early in the season. And then honestly, roster. I mean, I don't think Joe Schoen has done a great job.
No.
And so, I don't know. I think Brian Daboll's a good coach. So, you know what I mean? And
we're excited about Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Because of that.
1,000%.
Yeah, indeed.
1,000%. Anyway, Aloha Bricks, I just think jury's still out here, but I am less excited about Jaxon Dart today than I was a week ago.
Some more offensive coordinator news, although, of course, he will not be calling the plays. That's Davis Webb being promoted by the Broncos. He interviewed with the Raiders, Ravens, and Bills for head coaching positions here, Jay. But Davis Webb, obviously a very, very young coach in this league. But it was clear the Broncos moved this spot open for him because of how much they value him.
Yeah, he seems to have a great kind of burgeoning reputation across the league. The fact that he's getting these interviews for head coaching positions with teams like the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills think that he's thought of as a very creative mind and a kind of an outlier in that sense. So I don't think it moves the needle a ton in terms of changing the Broncos' outlook, because he was already there. It's still going to be Peyton calling the plays. But I mean, I think we forget a little bit, this Broncos offense, I don't think it's super loaded with talent.
No.
And the fact that they were able to get into the position that they were, where I think that they probably do make the Super Bowl if Bo Nix doesn't have that fracture in his ankle.
Or if there isn't a snowstorm in the second half.
Yeah, or if there isn't
I actually think there's a chance they win if just the weather's normal there.
Yeah, also I think it's a very well-schemed offense. The fact that, Bo Nix, who is able to use his legs so much but also just never takes sacks, the way that they're able to maximize their receiving talent and put Nix in positions to succeed. So, yeah, good news overall, but I don't think it changes a ton because this is still the Sean Payton show.
Yeah. All right, some other news. Roger Goodell confirmed there will be 9 international games next season. How about Melbourne making the list, Jay?
Yeah.
Are you going to go to that
hometown, MCG. Yeah, just a quick 24-hour flight from Stamford, Connecticut. So we'll see. Also, we've got the LA Rams.
Is it really a 24-hour flight?
It's 24 hours. That's why I don't go back home that much.
How far is it from LA then?
It's 14 hours direct from LA. So with layovers and stuff, it's basically 24 hours from New York.
But and we'll see when the schedule comes out and everything like that. But that's a factor. It's one thing to fly 5 hours over to London, but
I mean, you can't have Giants playing the Jets in Melbourne because it's just the extra 7 hours on a plane. But yeah, it's going to be the Rams. Matthew Stafford, I presume, will be the quarterback. We'll see how his back goes on our 14 hours flight back and forth. But no, it's fun. It'll be at the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, one of the great stadiums on earth. No, Lawrence is a big MCG guy. 100,000 people capacity.
Loves Australia.
Yeah. No, I spent a lot of my youth on the fated walk, Matthew, from Richmond train station to the MCG. So looking forward to the LA Rams doing the same thing. It should be a good spectacle.
All right, let's get into our wide receiver free agency preview. You think we're gonna do the show from there?
They're we should go to honestly we won't get to, but we should.
Let's pitch it to NBC. Look, Jay is from Australia.
That's all the pitches.
Thus, we must go and do
Let's see this walkway that a young Jay Crafter walked as a boy.
We'll just go to all the places that you've been to.
Yeah. That's right.
Or grew up in.
We've got this moment now. I know the game's on CBS, but we must get NBC. I don't know.
That's right. And, exactly. We can see where you passed all the kangaroos on the way to school.
Exactly.
Are you the only Australian in NFL media?
I can't think of another one.
Yeah, there's one other. I believe. No, actually,
Lawrence
he's
Jackson
British.
is not Australian.
Yeah, no.
They
I was going to say
so, but not not quite.
I was going to say Nat Coombs, but Nat Coombs is British. He's not. He's not Australian.
So not Australian.
No, so not Australian.
Connor and
Not
I were
even
chatting
close.
just before the show started to Sam Monson, but again, not Australian. He's from Ireland.
No, he's Irish.
Yeah. So no, I don't think there's any. I think I've got a stranglehold relatively.
Yeah, good market for you to own.
Yeah.
All right, the wide receivers. This list has a lot of big names on it, and we start with George Pickens.
Serious.
Yeah, man, Yahoo
George
serious.
Pickens at the top of this list, not even 25 years old yet. He was wide receiver 5 in points per game last year, followed by, of course, Mike Evans, Jauan Jennings, who famously wanted a new contract over summer, Jay's guy, Alec Pierce, who I think is going to get paid, Wan'Dale Robinson, who had 1,000 yards this season. This is a really, really strong list, Lawrence, but it feels like the most logical path for Pickens is to go back to the team he just blew up on in the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you would think so. You just never know. If this was any other team, you would feel like you would know, but you don't know with the Cowboys because Big Jerry out there. You know, you traded away Micah Parsons, so Rico Dowdle was a 1,000-yard back. You let him go. Now you did get Javonte Williams, but George Pickens, I think he's more valuable to the offense in bringing back than a Javonte Williams.
Me too.
George Pickens flourished in this offense, third in the NFL in receiving yards. Like, that is very easy to forget after he was left for dead. Not left for dead, but we thought, oh, he can't be a number one. He proved he could be a number one in the absence of CeeDee Lamb, and even when CeeDee Lamb played, he had bigger games. So George Pickens, man, I can't see an avenue where he's not on the Dallas Cowboys. But then again, like I say, you just never know with this team.
Yeah, because of that team, it's sort of an unknown. But, you know, he's somebody that was inconsistent in Pittsburgh, and because I think of the offense, because of Dak Prescott, and, you know, give him credit, for the most part, he had an unbelievable year. And so it does seem to make sense that for both sides, I think the Cowboys need him, and I think Pickens would be silly to move on to another quarterback or another system, you know, a third system in a third year.
Do you feel comfortable, Connor, giving George Pickens a massive contract?
I mean, what are the alternative options if you're Dallas? You let Micah Parsons go in large part because it feels like every time Jerry spoke to that, he's like, we're going to pay other parts of the team.
Right.
It's tough to
This is that part. This is part of it.
This is part of it. You got, obviously, better on your defensive line with the acquisitions you made, but you also got much better at wide receiver, too. You basically have 2 wide receiver ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I know there is risk with it because he is a volatile personality at times on the field, but I think you got to get it done.
I feel like he one of them dudes where, like, if he on your team, you love it.
Exactly.
But if you were going against him, you're like, man,
he's crazy.
Yeah. The thing with Pickens too is that it's not just the raw counting stats. The underlying stats on him were excellent. The yards per route run in EPA, he was closer to like Puka Nacua and JSN than he was to the guys behind him in receiving yards. And just the marriage of his skill set with Dak just seems so perfect.
That's
where
the point.
The fact that Dak is willing to push the ball down the field, that he's willing to throw into tight windows, where Pickens, his contested catch ability really shines. Yeah, it certainly makes the most sense for him to just go back.
Mike Evans, still 32. He's now 32 years old. This just feels like one, Matthew, where it's hard to picture Mike Evans ever playing anywhere else.
That's what I was gonna say.
How do you even have the combo about that?
Yeah, I just don't know what the market is for him. Missed 9 games, 32 years old, missed 9 games. Feels like he's more valuable to the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield than he is anywhere else. And so I expect this to get done. I feel like he stays in Tampa Bay.
Jauan Jennings, though, Jay, feels like he has a little bit more upside. Still 28 years old. When we see him featured in San Francisco's offense, a lot of wow moments, and maybe go somewhere that kind of features him more as, I don't know about a number 1, but a consistent number 2, where it was always injury-based in San Francisco.
Yeah, there's just enough stuff around the edges with Jauan Jennings where you don't feel super comfortable. The fact that I don't think he's amazing as a separator. Right. He couldn't really separate and give Brock Purdy an option against that Seattle defense in those last 2 games. Also, just like random breaking off the route. I think it was probably his fault, the pick 6, the first throw that Purdy made against the Bears in that game. And also the fact that he's just constantly banged up, almost to a comical degree in the first 6 weeks or so of the season. So certainly a lot of talent. Seems to have a rapport with Purdy. If he stays there, he will be interesting on another team. But, you know, I thought that there were worlds where, you know, Jauan Jennings could have, you know, Michael Wilson's type of season this year on another team. Perhaps I'm not sure he quite has the upside that we thought maybe he did have 12 months ago.
Right, and Ricky Pearsall should be healthy for San Francisco next year. Lawrence, the next 3.
Although, I mean, you know, and they always find guys in the draft. And, you know, but again, they're moving on from Brandon Ayuk, which we'll talk about a little bit. And so I don't know, like Ricky Pearsall's also struggled to stay healthy. Hasn't really proven he's been.
George Kittle off an Achilles.
Yeah,
it's a little barren.
It feels like Jauan Jennings is going to be a priority for the 49ers, or should be, in theory.
Possibly, or one of these three guys, Lawrence, because it feels like these next three change so much based on where they go. Alec Pierce, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Rashid Shaheed.
All three of these guys could go to a specific team, and we'd be like, oh, damn. Rashid Shaheed is with Josh Allen now. Oh man! Oh, he's with Justin Herbert now. I'm just thinking
Mahomes.
I'm thinking of all these quarterbacks with these big arms. You get a Rashid Shaheed on a team like the Chiefs, Matthew. This is a guy who could go for 1,000 yards if he plays all the games, similar to what Alec Pierce did. Alec Pierce might have just had the quietest 1,000 yards that we've seen in recent history. Not quiet to us, and definitely not to Jay Croucher.
Very loud to me. Loud's my beating heart.
Talk about him.
Yeah, I just think that Pierce, we saw that earlier in his career he was more of a one-trick deep ball threat, and this year we saw the route tree just really develop. He's running in-breaking routes. He's running shorter stuff. He had a rapport with Daniel Jones. We even saw him with Riley Leonard in the last game of the season before he stupidly got kicked out of that game against the Texans. Pierce, he was going off there with Riley Leonard as his quarterback. So yeah, I think that this is on talent at this point. I think this is a top 20 wide receiver in the league.
And Alec Pierce will be joining us on the show tomorrow. So we'll just ask him, hey, where are you going?
Fanboy. Wow. That's right. It's going to be like sitting next to Keanu Reeves. It's going to be.
That's a big one for you.
Yeah, it's going to be glorious.
I think the important thing is that we need to make sure when Alec Pierce is here, Connor Lawrence has got to be a team effort, that we make sure that Jay cannot get a picture with only Alec Pierce.
There's no world where Alec Pierce sits next to Jay.
Yeah. That's right.
Super
right,
close.
And just even after the interview, like if Jay asks for a picture, we just need to make sure we're
we lean in between them?
Yeah, exactly.
Like behind them?
We just need to make sure absolutely
it's not. It's going to be a seminal moment in my career. Interviewing Alec Pierce. Don't ruin it for me.
Deebo Samuel also on this list. Matt, do you think he has anything left in the tank? I thought he was better in Washington than I expected.
I agree.
Had a good first half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, and just everything went wrong for Washington in the second half, and they were banged up, and he played with a backup quarterback for much of it. My expectation here is that Deebo probably moves on, only because the Commanders have moved on from Cliff Kingsbury. Deebo made so much sense for the kind of offense that Cliff Kingsbury wanted to run in terms of the run after the catch stuff. And I know that the Commanders feel like they need more speed, especially on the outside at that position, at the wide receiver position. So I could see Deebo playing somewhere else. I think does he have something left in the tank? Yes. Do I think he's going to be as dominant as he was in the past? I don't. So I think for our purposes, I think he's a wide receiver 3-4 type, depending on where he lands.
A quietly top 30 finish in points per game out of the wide receivers for Deebo Samuel last year. Another upside.
Felt like that was inflated by the non-McLaurin games, because McLaurin missed a decent amount of games too, and
he had a lot of his touchdowns in the early part of the year.
Another upside option, Romeo Doubs, still 25 years old. Only wide receiver 40 in points per game, but as we always go through, Lawrence, in Green Bay, it was hard to figure out who would get the targets and when. This is somebody last year had 85 targets.
Yeah, and I think up until Christian Watson came on, he was Jordan Love's most reliable receiver, especially when you get in that red area. He's coming down with the ball, back shoulder throws, type of stuff like that. I would actually be a smidget shocked if he's not back in Green Bay, because although they got the stable of receivers, like what did Matthew Goedert didn't show us too much. He didn't show us that he could be more reliable than a Romeo Doubs. We know he got potential, but potential is just potential. Romeo Doubs has got you 700 yards at least. So, with the Packers, we know what he is, like every other Packers receiver, a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 type of guy.
He feels like depth. He feels like a depth signing for an NFL team and for a fantasy team, to be honest with you.
What if he went to, say Miami signed Malik Willis and him, and he's the number 2 to Jalen Waddle?
It's more interesting.
That's like what we need something like that.
We'd be talking about that.
You need a bunch of dominoes, and they don't sign a real tight end, and you need a couple of dominoes to fall like that.
To get there, but if you squint.
You squint.
The issue is if he goes back to Green Bay, as much as he has a rapport with Jordan Love, the fact that Jordan Love does target him in the red zone, it's like they've got 5 receivers. he's probably 5th in terms of upside. Like, you feel more comfortable in the upside of Matthew Golden because of the draft pedigree, because of Christian Watson with the skill set, and then even Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed, I think, have more like upside
they do.
scenarios than Doubs, but Doubs might have the highest floor.
He's the safe guy, yeah.
Jay, very important question for you from Stuntman Chuck. Where does Romeo Doubs rank in the Dobby rankings?
Oh, good question.
That's interesting.
Really good question, Stuntman
Well,
Chuck.
he's probably surpassed Josh Dobbs.
What about JK?
Yeah, I think he's going past J.K. Dobbins as well.
Okay.
Full healthy year for J.K. Yeah, he's number 1 in the Dobby rank.
I'm say he gotta be number 1.
Yeah, I'll stand by it.
What about Dobby from the Harry Potter movies?
Dobby fell off in the second half. So yeah,
Not a strong finish to the year for
so
Dobby.
Dobby's second. Yeah, ahead of J.K., but below Romeo.
Let's go to the free agent tight ends. An old friend of the show here, Kyle Pitts, is at the top of the list here, Lawrence. Still 25 years old.
Hey.
118 targets.
All pro
Kyle
end.
Pitts.
Yeah.
Now a free agent at the right
all
time.
your guys made all pro. Kyle Pitts, Shador, all your guys.
No, Pro Bowl. But
Yeah, Pro Bowl. That's
but
what I'm saying.
the Falcons, funny enough, had 3 all-pro players, which is crazy because they weren't in the playoffs. But, Connor, I don't even like the words free agent next to Kyle Pitts' name. Now that you got Kevin Stefanski coming in there, and he had the season that he had, not that I would be shocked if Kyle Pitts win, because it's going to cost him some money now to keep him. It's going to cost you now with the season he just had, but you like to see him back in Atlanta based on the season he had, and you saw what Kevin Stefanski did with Harold Fannin. So
Great point.
If he does stay in Atlanta, then it's like the wheels is up again, and it might be the highest that Kyle Pitts has been drafted since like his rookie year, or the year after his rookie year.
Yeah.
So, with Kevin Stefanski, we like it, but there's definitely plenty other teams we could see him having the same upside.
Travis Kelce, next up on our list. We don't know if he's going to play next year, Travis Kelce. 36 years old. Tight end 8 last year. It didn't really feel like it, but it
didn't feel like
it.
Well,
the Chiefs were bad for the first time
right,
in forever.
exactly, and the offense struggled, but it's just whether he wants to come back or not. I sort of feel like, I think everyone sort of felt like, this is probably it, but then like he seems to be
I don't
leaving
think
the
he
door
went in
open
like that.
and like right, exactly. There's that, and the enemy being back, that may affect things. So we wait to see what Travis Kelce wants to do, but I can't imagine if he comes back that he's playing anywhere but Kansas City.
You would think so. Also, Aloha Bricks, Pitts to
Aloha
KC.
Bricks, don't you do that now.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Aloha
I do think that Kelce, even though he clearly doesn't have the athleticism that he had a few years ago, he's going to find those little soft spots in zone coverage for 8 yards for eternity. He could do that for the next half decade. So if he does come back, I still think he has a good chance to be a top 10 tight end if he goes back to KC with Mahomes.
Another guy that could do that is the 31-year-old Dallas Goedert. He was tight end 5 last year. Dallas Goedert is a really good player in this league. Another guy, though, Matthew just.
But it was mostly inflated by touchdowns, which he's never been a big touchdown scorer before in his career.
But he's at least always like.
He's solid.
If you take him, you're not like, I'm going to have that tight end 16 kind of season out of him. But a guy that you probably want him going back to Philadelphia.
100%. If they were manufacturing the touches for him near the goal line, shovel passes, out routes, just Jalen Hurts. This guy was tied. You see him tied for the league leader in tight ends, but that 11 touchdowns was tied for second in the whole NFL in receiving touchdowns. So from a fantasy perspective, I'd want to see him go back to Philly.
Yeah, to me, he's like the Josh Jacobs of tight ends, where it's never that exciting to draft him. He's been around forever, but he's just going to be reliably like top 7, 8 at the position, and he takes different paths to get there. This year is the receiving touchdowns. Other years it's been the receptions and the yards. So long as he stays in that offense, and he's got the skill set. So
that's the key. He needs to stay in that offense, and also, I think there's a chance A.J. Brown moves on this year as well, and so does he become an even bigger part of that offense, the focal point of the passing game, I should say.
A couple guys that didn't have the seasons they were hoping for, but now hit the market, and maybe a little upside here somewhere. Cade Otton, David Njoku, Chig Okonkwo, Isaiah Likely, the last one though, Matthew. That would be the guy that
super interesting.
You could see him taking off somewhere.
A lot of Isaiah Likely in Dynasty. please, and that they just signed Mark Andrews to this big extension.
Right.
Please, free Isaiah Likely.
He's going somewhere else.
Free Isaiah Likely.
I think he's going to get freed. He's going to get paid.
Well, the rumor I heard, a complete rumor, not from any inside sources, was that he's going to the Chiefs. Yeah.
Someone on the street here?
Yeah, just some random stop.
Jesse Minter?
Hey, Matthew.
I got an Isaiah Likely scoop for you.
Isaiah Likely to the Chiefs if Kelce doesn't come back, which would be unbelievable.
Then he goes from...
I think he should go even if Kelce comes back.
With all the 12 personnel in this league?
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, we want Isaiah Likely out of Baltimore. Cade Otton sort of feels like whatever. David Njoku to me is interesting just because I feel like it's just their fascination with Harold Fannin, but I don't feel like Njoku's play has dropped off. And he is such a good run blocker, such a good blocker in general, that I feel like there's a lot of teams that will want him.
Yeah, I agree. He'll be out. Hey, would it be shocking if he ends up in Atlanta? If Kyle Pitts leaves? Back with Kevin Stefanski?
No, exactly, right?
No, it would not be shocking.
That would make a ton of sense.
That would make a lot of sense. The other one is, and also Chig Okonkwo, just if he can get somewhere, we like Chig Okonkwo, really athletic. He just needs the right role, coach and quarterback for him, which he hasn't had in Tennessee.
Yeah, you'd like to see him stick with Cam Ward, though. It seemed like they had a bit of rapport, particularly towards the end of the season at the beautiful bomb play against the Texans, which almost had the Titans winning that game. Just on Isaiah Likely, is he a tight end? Have those skills developed in terms of the traditional tight end skills, or is he more like an Oronde Gadsden type?
He is, but he needs to be used like Harold Fannin, right? Who does a little bit of everything. That's in Baltimore. It felt like there was times where you saw the flashes of it, where they got it with him. This is a great fit and a great pick. And then this year, for whatever reason, Lawrence, he just completely fell out of favor.
Yeah, and then that spoke even higher volumes when Mark Andrews got the contract.
Right.
What you want to do with Isaiah Likely, and the Ravens tried to do that some, is you got to flex him out, let him block the corners, and then you let guys make. That's how he stays on the field to have more opportunities to catch the ball.
Yeah,
that's right. All right, we got a comment here. This one from
Mako
TV. I really like Isaiah Likely. Depending on where he lands, he could be a tight end one somewhere with opportunity. I mean, we've kind of said that for years at this point. And
free
we thought
Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, we thought it would be just the natural kind of overtaking of Mark Andrews, but Mark Andrews feels like he is eternal at this point. He's got
it was
the
a
extension.
Surprising extension. The level of it.
Shocking, especially because honestly, I'm shocked he was back on the team last year. When you think about how the Ravens season ended 2 years ago with the drop, the 2-point conversion drop against the Bills in the end zone, they sort of felt like, this might be it for Mark Andrews, at least in Buffalo. And
don't know anything,
Baltimore.
but I do know that's him and Lamar came in together. That's his dude right there.
Right. Yeah. That might be it.
And I think the key with these Baltimore guys, because I think there was a bit of doubt midway, 3/4 of the way through the season about is Lamar Jackson, is he just all these hits that he's taken over the years, is he just in a different phase of his career? The Lamar that we saw against Pittsburgh looked like MVP Lamar. That was as good as he has played.
Right.
And also, even before that, I know he had the other injury as well against the Patriots, but even before that, he was starting to turn the corner. So I would expect that next year, it might not be 41 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions, Lamar Jackson, but I suspect that, it's going to be closer to that than the guy that we saw for the first half this past season.
Yeah,
which
you
was
got to play more games.
Yeah,
you just got to play more games. That's really it.
Yep.
NBC Sports Now is live from San Francisco all week with special guests. Tune in live from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time each day, Monday to Friday, for the Dan Patrick Show, PFT Live, Chris Sims Unbuttoned, the Dan Le Batard Show, and of course us here at the Happy Hour. NBC Sports Now is a free 24/7 streaming channel. Full details on where to watch at NBCSports.com/now. We're not done with our free agency preview. Stay tuned as we break down some more. We have prop bets, actually, after this. It's legendary February at NBC and streaming on Peacock in just 3 days. Join the celebration as we kick off the Winter Olympics in Italy with the opening ceremony.
Well, wait. Lots happening in February.
Pretty busy month.
Pretty legendary.
Very, very legendary. Trysta, are you like me as we see the shot here of the stadium? I guess
that's a football stadium.
That's a lot of parking. Look at the parking lot's already filled up, and there's nothing going on.
And there's blatant lies going on. It says San Francisco. We all know it's not in San Francisco. It's in Santa Clara.
It's Santa Clara. That's right.
Out. Yes.
Trysta
one of the misconceptions.
Yeah, bringing truth.
That's
bringing truth.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
socially.
Yeah, exactly. Jay feels like you should be passing hors d'oeuvres. Is honestly what you feel like. I wish you should have played it. Look at this outfit.
I thought you meant Trysta should be. I'm like, what you do?
I thought that at first too.
Yeah,
I was like, ready to go.
I'm saying Jay feels like you should have had some hors d'oeuvres for Trysta in this outfit. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm.
Okay, I was going to say.
That silver platter was. Oh
We're
my
making
God, thank you so much for
outfit jabs 42 minutes into the show. Sorry, I just didn't register late because you're so
backup
far
producer
past
Pete could be your sous chef.
Yeah, exactly.
Backup producer Pete's got a lot to answer for. Those golden buttons are an absolute disgrace.
Bad day for him.
They're an international incident, those golden buttons.
You see, we lie. We invite you on and say we want to talk about props, but we really just want to make fun of our coworkers.
I appreciate that.
How comfortable you are with that, we'll see.
Well, the last time I was on, I pretty much made fun of Matthew mercilessly the entire show. He was bright red from minute 6, maybe.
Way to take my chair. That's
why
nicely.
Why you fit in.
That's a good move. All right, let's get into some of these Super Bowl head-to-head prop bets. Kind of an interesting market instead of just betting on an individual player. How about more passing yards here, Trysta, which is set at, of course, between Sam Darnold and Drake Maye. Darnold is minus 136. Drake Maye plus money at plus 106. But you like the underdog here.
Is it just me, or is the recency bias of those Rams games getting in our heads about Sam Darnold? You look at what he did outside of the Rams games, and he's been pretty pedestrian. And I think New England's defense, we talk about Seattle's defense all the time.
Right.
But New England people act like New England's defense is just a slouch. And really, this is a top 10 passing defense. Darnold's only faced 3 top 10 passing defenses all year. And in those 3 occasions, just over 202 of those occasions and just over 100 against the Panthers. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and take Drake Maye.
What about you, Jay?
It's a sneaky thing where Darnold, even though our last memory of him is him being magnificent against the Rams in the best game of his career, really the whole second half of the season, after those 60-yard bombs to JSN started to dry up a bit, he wasn't really the same guy. This wasn't a super efficient offense. They leaned on their defense so much, and then those 2 games against the Rams, he really balled out. Of course, the first game against the Rams, he threw 4 interceptions. So I think this really comes down to, though, Connor, is Drake Maye in the playoffs has been dreadful as a passer, relative to expectations of a guy who is either on Thursday night he's either going to win MVP or he's going to come a pretty close second, and he has just not been at the races as a passer in these 3 games.
I think that's the problem. Trysta, you brought up how we do have recency bias from a huge game from Darnold where he kind of slayed the dragon, right? It was always, the Rams are in his head, and then he has this great game. But that's the theme with Drake Maye right now is I also felt like in that game, understandably, Josh McDaniels did not want that game in his hands. Early on, it was let's be run heavy, let's be screen heavy. I don't know if you can play that way against Seattle. It feels like at some point with the Super Bowl on the line, you're going to have to let it rip, but then you got to deal with their pass rush, which is really good against anyone but the Rams.
I mean, that's the point, right? 4.5-point underdog, so in theory, Drake Maye should be throwing a lot.
Right. But what does that mean?
What does that mean, right? But again, you prefer the Seahawks passing weapons, I think, to the Patriots, although it's close. Yes. But obviously, JSN is just such a difference maker. And then the other thing is is he going to have time to throw? I mean, I think that's one of the keys here is the Patriots' offensive line has been so brutal throughout the playoffs, and just Seattle be able to generate pressure, especially if they can generate pressure with 4 and they're dropping 7. And so now Drake Maye is running for his life, and he's just got nothing open out there as well. The one thing I'll say about Sam Darnold potentially, and again, he's the favorite here. He's minus 136, but I think Seattle, in Trysta, you're absolutely right. They want to be conservative, they want to run the ball, and in theory, they're going to be up, right, according to the line. I just think the Patriots' run defense, since they've gotten healthy, is really good, and I think they're going to struggle to run the ball. And I think I don't think they want Sam Darnold to throw the ball in this one, but I think they're going to have to to move the ball because I don't think they're going to be able to run effectively on New England.
And another point that's a scenario where Sam Darnold maybe doesn't have to throw is maybe you get a defensive score for Seattle and they don't have the ball and they're able to still take a lead.
Or a special teams. Rashid Shaheed
First play of the game,
he's got 4 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, his ability to change the game on a kick return or a punt return is dynamic.
It's with the Seattle defense, I think they're such a fascinating unit because they've been past 2 games against the Rams. They got absolutely torched in both of those. And then outside of that, they've looked absolutely destructive in terms of particularly what they did against the Niners, holding them to 9 points in 8 quarters. I think it's very basic, but it's just a reminder that the way that you beat a pass rush, either you block it or your receivers get open so fast that the pass rush doesn't have time to get home. And so what do the Rams have? They had arguably the best offensive line in football this year. And then they have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. I know Devontae didn't play the first game, but Puka was there both times. And those guys are just going to separate against Tariq Woolen and Job and the corners on the outside of Seattle, which aren't their strength. I'm not sure that the Patriots can block Seattle or that their receivers are going to create separation as quickly as Puka Nacua does. Well, I know they're not going to. So I would worry that there might be a snowball effect on Maye, where he's just completely under siege, and Maye looks against Seattle the way that Purdy looked against Seattle.
The next market, I'm surprised at how high it's set personally, Trysta. Kenneth Walker and Rhamondre Stevenson combined for 127.5 rushing yards.
Yeah.
I would be on the under with this. I like both run defenses, and I think they simply will try to take away the run.
1,000%. I think there's going to be a lot of casual bets or bettors that will get suckered into the over here. I can just feel it because you're talking about Rhamondre and Kenneth Walker have been 2 of the most potent running backs in the last month. They've been explosive. You look at what they've done in the postseason. Okay, yeah, they're going to lean on them, but with Milton Williams, when he came back, this run defense has been nasty. Seattle's run defense has been really, really good all year long. I think it's just going to be tough to do anything against both of these defenses. I think it's going to be an easy under. I wouldn't take the over on maybe any prop besides, and we'll talk about one of these guys later on in the segment. I only have like 1 or 2 players that I really like.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, Trysta. This is one that just doesn't feel great. I kind of probably want to avoid it. The counter, and we think TreVeyon Henderson gets used more in this game than I think he has been in the last couple of playoff games. For whatever it's worth, Walker's averaging 89 rushing yards a game. Rhamondre Stevenson averaging over 64 rushing yards a game. So, I mean, like, combined, they're over 150 rushing yards per game this season. The line's at 127. So, I agree with you. I like both run defenses. I don't feel great about this line, but I can see the argument for the over. That's the counter argument to the over there. But I agree with you. If I had to bet this, I'd take the under, but I likely would just avoid this one. This one doesn't feel. This one feels tough. It's a clever line. Well done, Mr. King.
They know what they're doing. How about receiving yards spread, Jay, which is JSN set at minus 48.5 yards versus Stephon Diggs. Is this exactly what it sounds like? He has to cover that yardage difference against Diggs?
He's got to have 49 more receiving yards than Stephon Diggs. And so this is built off the fact that JSN's receiving prop's been hovering around 94.5. Diggs is more in the mid-40s. So I suspect that Drake Maye is going to have to lean on Stephon Diggs because he is probably their best option against this Seattle defense just in general. So we'll see. I think that Seattle are going to want to run the ball a lot because that's just what they do. And when they're not able to run the ball efficiently, which I don't think they will be against the Patriots run defense, like, are they going to be able to connect on a deep ball to JSN? Because if it's JSN against Christian Gonzalez will be a great matchup, but if he's able to get against Carlton Davis, certainly it's advantage JSN there to catch one long reception.
Well, and that's kind of like what my biggest fear is are we going to see that matchup? Because Christian Gonzalez usually operates on the opposite side of the field, and he's only, I think, covering wide receiver ones like 25% of the time. But more so to me, outside of JSN, what are we going to see from Stephon Diggs? His average depth of target in the postseason is 6 yards. I prefer Kayshon Boutte over Diggs. I would stay all the way away from this because the range of outcomes are so wild. You could see him lean on Stephon Diggs, a sure-handed veteran receiver, sure. You could see JSN go crazy for 120 yards. But again, if you're an under better, which I am, I feel like, man, we could see just a lot of nothing.
Yeah, I think there's a scenario where the Patriots make the decision to, I don't care what happens, we're bracketing JSN, like we'll make somebody else beat us.
Totally.
To the point of like, Right? Is it a defensive touchdown? We don't think Darnold wants to throw that much. And then to your point, in big games, it feels like in some of the bigger games and some of the primetime games, they've leaned on Stephon Diggs, who can move inside and outside. And I think if I had to pick a side here, I think I would get Diggs to cover. Give me Diggs plus 48.5 yards.
Trysta, great having you on with us here at Radio Row. I know you're going to be busy all week with all kinds of markets like this. We are going to continue that in our last segment. We have last call after this as we look at the receiving yards leader for Super Bowl 60 coming up next. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh, the crown
is yours. And last call is ours. Let's get right into it. Super Bowl receiving yards leaderboard right here. Jay, no surprise, Jaxon Smith, the very heavy favorite. Is there any value option on this board that you'd at least consider?
Yeah, so I think Jay said obviously the rifle favorite, minus 180, likely going to be offensive player of the year.
It's not a terrible price either, minus 180. It's not good, but it's not egregious.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think my two favorite bets here would either be JSN or the Mac Daddy, Mac Hollins, 17-1. He was second, very close to leading the Patriots in wide receiver snaps against the Broncos, and he's got a rapport with Drake Maye. And I think that the Patriots might need to be throwing a lot.
I like that call. That would be my guess as well. But just to offer another option, Rashid Shaheed at plus 2,000. Again, if the Patriots make a point to try to take away JSN, Rashid Shaheed is one of those guys that, like, he could have 2 big plays and end up winning this, especially if the Patriots spread the ball around a lot.
I like that one, and that's why I'm going to say Kayshon Boutte. If I'm going to, he's their leading receiver in the playoffs. He's the one on their team most liable to have that big play. So if I was going to take a shot, I would take Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah, I'd be with you as well on that, Lawrence. You look at it with this Seattle team, you just wonder if he gets a couple matchups in a one-on-one situation where New England's, they got to take a chance at some point and throw the ball down the field in man coverage. But Seattle, they don't play a ton of man, so it'll have to be few and far between. Tricky board.
Yeah, Hunter Henry is the second favorite is really interesting. Again, Seattle struggles against tight ends.
Right.
So
Probably
I do think Henry is going to be a big factor in this game. Henry and Austin Hooper, but in terms of total receiving yards, like it was most receptions, I could see that. It's an interesting one.
It's shameful no Jake Bobo on the board, despite his heroics against the Rams.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. The one thing is that if JSN doesn't go berserk, then it might be a fairly low yardage total that you need to win this, because he's the only guy who's really intimidating. He's the only receiver who's set it over 45 yards in this game.
I'm surprised to see Cooper Kupp as the third favorite here.
I don't love that. I would rather Matt Collins or Rashid Shaheed just straight up. They just have a bit more upside.
Finds his fountain of youth in the Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp. One
easily
last
could.
MVP.
Easily could, and obviously, again, if they take away JSN, Sam Darnold's going to be looking for somebody else, and Kupp in the slot would obviously avoid Christian Gonzalez a decent amount of the time. So it is closing time, which means you do not have to go home, but you cannot stay here. For Lawrence, Connor, Jay, Trysta, I am Matthew. We're back tomorrow live. We'll see you then. Peace out.